I was much taller, about 2.5 inches taller, when I first walked into North Sea Community House in November in 2010. I just have to take a moment to capture this scene so that this will be what I hold when I'm across the ocean. So I was asked to speak here in November of 2010 because Nick had spoken to Mary Angela Buffo, whom some of you know, and she wasn't able to come. And she and I, for about 2 years, led a service in, I can see her face, it will come, in Suzanne, she's a chiropractor, in Suzanne Kirby's office on Sunday mornings in Sag Harbor long ago. And Mary and I did that for a while. And I walked in, I thought I'll come the week before I speak because I want to see what this is. And maybe there were 10 people there and I liked it. And I came back the next week and the next week and the next week. And then time went by and I lived in other places. And being asked to speak here sometime in the summer to choose dates was really helpful in grounding me in this East End community that I feel so connected with. So to be asked to speak, to be the final official speaker, I really don't have words for it. So I brought my prayer shawl that was made for my ordination in June of 2001. And I endowed this prayer shawl with the affirmation that I consider to be a love note, that whenever I put it on, the energy of we are one is what moves through me. So needless to say, I wanted this to be the absolute best message I ever delivered. So I've been thinking about it, it's a couple of months now. And a few days before Mark spoke last week, because he spoke of 3 questions, I had come up with 3 questions. I thought, great, I love these questions. I'm going to ask those questions so everyone will get connected with what does truth mean to them? What does love mean to them? And then that kind of faded. And then I listened to Shoshmita, who was the first one to speak about truth this month. And the beautiful, beautiful poem of Thich Nhat Hanh that she read about truth. And I had all these thoughts, there's small truth, and that's often the truth from the information we're getting from our ego. And then there's truth, all capital letters in neon. And so at about 10 after 7 this morning, I got it. And I just got some more of it listening to the, after the meditation, and the meditation was beautiful, listening, as was the opening prayer, listening to the last part of raising the veil. And what occurred to me at 10 after 7 this morning is focus on the mission of New Thought Spiritual Center of Eastern Long Island. And Joseph said it during the opening announcements and welcome. And it's, we are a New Thought community that embodies and celebrates universal spiritual principles. And this is the part, this next sentence that I'm going to focus on. We acknowledge our unity with God and each other and demonstrate this truth in our life. So even though I have 4 pages of notes, let's see if I use any of them. So I have to say for me that God is a word I didn't use a lot. And some of you may know that in the Jewish tradition, when the word God is written, there's a dash in between. I understand that to be, it's the great mystery. It's nothing we can fully comprehend, but we can know it. And so over the years, decades now, the word God, goddess, loving energy has become God is love for me. And what became clear as I was sitting with my eyes closed during the meditation, saying a prayer to be an instrument, is I want to know you. And that is what unity is. I want to praise you. I'm not saying them in the right order. I want to feel you. I want to praise you. I want to love you. And it's not romantic love that I'm talking about. I want my heart to be open to you, to understand that as you speak to me, as you share whatever you might share, God resides within. Not a separate God from the love that resides in me, but that we are truly one. So, as part of the mission, we acknowledge our unity with God. Well, what does that mean? So I know I've said this before through the years. I thought there's a prayer, the prayer of protection, and the final line of the prayer of protection is, wherever God is, I am. And for the longest time I thought, oh, if I cross the street, God will be there. If I come and visit you in your house, God will be there. If I'm on a train, God will be there. Wherever I went, God was. What I was missing is that God, that love, is right where I am at any moment. And while there are times when I look up in the sky and I say, okay, what would love do here? The real looking that's going on is within. And it's the unity of my body, mind, spirit. And so in recent years, I've become more familiar with the idea that if God truly resides in me, if this is a truth, and if I say yes to this truth, that means at times, even though I don't like crickets in my house, that I will get a piece of cardboard, kind of thicker paper, pick it up, open the door, put it outside. I don't do that 100% of the time. I do it a good deal of the time. Because if we are one, and I have to say, I did use AI this morning. Let me see if I could find the question and the answer. AI. I wrote, what is unity with God? And the answer was oneness of all existence. So that I can gather wisdom, I can gain wisdom. I know Myers has a special tree. From trees, from flowers. I walked through Nick and Joseph's garden a few weeks ago. This was heaven to me. But it wasn't heaven, oh, I wish I had a garden like this. Oh, I'm never gonna have a garden like this. Oh, why don't my flowers look as nice? It was that connection that there are seeds planted in me that when I nourish them in my thoughts, in my words, in my actions, they bloom. And they're beautiful. So I too am a tree. I am a flower. I am the bushes. I'm even poison ivy. Which is, when I recognize it, it's saying, okay, you can stay away, but I can still say hello to you. And then what does it mean for us to acknowledge our unity with one another? Something that I learned long ago that, it's so interesting to me. This is an example. I studied with Don Miguel Ruiz, as many of you know, for 2.5 years. And at some point during that study, he said something like, everyone is always doing the best they can based upon what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. Well, I come from a background of being told, don't feel that way. You shouldn't have said that. You know better than that. But the truth is, whatever I am doing at any particular moment is coming out of the programming, the domestication, and the software that is running me at that moment. And the circumstances that bring me pain come from times when I abandoned myself to be safe, when I said the nice thing, when I didn't express my feelings because I was scared of how someone else would take it, what they would think. And so that old stuff pops up sometime. But what I know, when I connect with love, and often for me it's, okay, what would love do here? Which doesn't mean I always want to do what I hear. And how do I know it's love speaking? Because love speaks in very simple sentences or a quick image. There's no story about why this is a good idea. There's no list of pros and cons, although there are times it's valuable to do that. But when I ask my heart, when I ask the God in me that is in every cell, I'm seeing a particular image of me right now with an open heart, and I'm on a swing and I'm swinging back and forth. And that what has come to be, because that's an image that over decades, when my heart was armored up and closed and I was scared to express love, I didn't know how to receive love. One day, after years in an art class, I did a piece of work, and I'm not a great painter at all, didn't matter, I made a heart, I made a door in it, I opened it, I made a swing on strings, and I put a charm. You know I like charms. And I put a charm on the swing, and that's the image I have 99.9% of the time of my heart. And so, as this chapter, as an ending is before us, there are gifts of endings. Now, I think I've said here numerous times, the final line of a morning Apache prayer is, "This is a good day to die." And the way I understand that, because there have been many endings in my life, actual deaths of loved one. The first one I'm really aware of is when my turtle died, and my mother didn't want me to be upset. So she bought a new home for the turtle, got another turtle, and I said to her, it doesn't look like my turtle. She said, oh, it's shed, and that's why it's smaller. I was in elementary school at the time. But I still didn't believe it. I kept crying and crying. And then she said, oh, it looks smaller because, I got a glass home. And when you look through the glass, it's because of the glass it looks smaller. But I looked above it. So that didn't work. And then she told me the truth, that she had lived in an apartment building in Manhattan. She had taken it and put it down the incinerator on our floor because she didn't want me to feel pain. She didn't want me to feel the pain of death. And yet, when I focus on this might be the last time I see this person, or this might be the last time I drive down that road, I see it with clear vision. And that's truth. When we live knowing that endings, that death is part of life, not that we have to imagine our funeral, but that this could be the last time. I know I'll be sitting here with you next week. At least that's what I'm focused on. But it just opens my heart to all the gifts I've received over the years. The gift of community and the gift of not knowing the personal stories of everyone, yet because we're sharing this experience wherever we are on the path of love and truth, I can feel at home. And I don't have to be shy and hold back from saying hello to someone I haven't met before. I don't have to hold back from being authentic, from being real. And this is what our work is. Our work is, in my words, is to be mighty expressions of love in the world. So, I'm giving out 2 things today. One of them is a card that I actually put in when I sell my affirmation cards. And I had a dilemma this morning about actually giving it out because it had become my business card. This isn't about business. And then I looked at it and saw what I had actually written. And that affirmation, I am a mighty expression of love. And it has that energy of power in mighty, and it has the fullness of love, in the words of Byron Katie, to say yes to it all. Because the truth is that there is a power in acknowledgement of what is true for each of us at every moment that can set us free. So when I'm angry and I'm pissed off, I may let out a scream, but then I acknowledge what I'm feeling, the truth of what's going on with me. Not necessarily know what to do about it in that moment, but in that action of acknowledgement, there is power. And so I do have questions to leave you with. And the questions are, what does unity mean to you? What does it mean to you in your own body? And become familiar when you're not connected with that energy of unity. Not, well, I'm never going to feel that way again. Yeah, you probably will. Because what wakes us up to our growing edge, our leading edge, is often an ouch. It captures our attention. It wakes us up from business as usual. And the truth is that we are all love. And loving ourselves, knowing that God, Goddess, love resides in us, is truly our job here on this planet. Because with each exhalation of love, we offer our loving energy of light to the collective consciousness. And this is what this community has given to me and continues to give to me today. And in this picture that I have of all of you right now, you're going to be with me in Portugal on many, 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 many days, and I think it will be more than Sundays. Much love. Thank you for your support of me and for the charming, enchanted, loving human beings we all are.